Great. So I want to welcome you all to the March quarterly call via Zoom. And for those of you on the phone, welcome as well. This is our quarterly call for updates and conversation around homeownership programs. Again, I want to extend my appreciation for everyone joining. Looks like we have 60 participants. So again, thank you for taking your time to join us today. I would like to acknowledge and have anyone that's attending today for the first time, if you could please introduce yourself. And this would be not OHCS employees, because I will introduce you momentarily. But these are any first time partners or other guests attending today. If you have not attended one of our partner calls, could you please introduce yourself?
I'll go ahead and start. My name is Joe Swank. I'm with Audrey Development.
Welcome.
My name is Steve DeClotz, and I'm with Catholic Charities of Oregon, based out of Portland, Oregon.
Hi.
Go ahead.
My name is Amber Neek. I'm with the City of Grants Pass.
My name is Eric Jacobson with Hacienda Community Development Corporation.
So many people on this Zoom.
Hi, Kim. It's Veronica Candelwall from Down Payment Resource.
Hi, I'm Gabriella from Proud Ground.
I'm Chris Coughlin with Oregon Consumer Justice.
Jessica Arevalo, also with Proud Ground.
Here with Hacienda CDC.
Hi, my name is Melissa Frazier, and I work with the ARC of Jackson County.
Hello everybody, Javier Mena from the City of Beaverton.
Hi, I'm Julie Todd. I'm with the ARC of Jackson County.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ira Bailey. I'm with the City of Portland, the Housing Bureau.
Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel Chuga with the African American Alliance for Homeownership.
Everyone, I'm Stacy Sanders with Housing Oregon.
I'm Victoria Vale with Neighbor Impact.
Great. Do we have any other first timers joining us today?
Rose Honeycutt with Rescue Life.
Welcome. Okay, with that, again, welcome to everyone that is joining for the first time. I would also like to recognize Javier Mena, who is also on our Housing Stability Council. I know he said he's from the City of Beaverton, but I also know he plays many roles within our agency, so welcome. And a shout out to someone who's always near and dear to our heart, Val Valfrey, who was a member of our Housing Stability Council for many years. So it's always great to see Val joining us. And again, a special thank you to all of you who have joined for the first time. I would like to go ahead at this time and have the OHCS staff introduce themselves. But before we start, I'm going to start actually. So I apologize. Kim Freeman, I'm the Assistant Director to Homeownership Programs. And it is my pleasure today to introduce one of the newest members to the Homeownership Program team. And she is not on my screen, but I know she happens to be on today. So I'm always looking through screens. Is someone who has joined in all my homeownership development partners. You're going to be really excited to meet Ina Kaljek. She has joined our team the middle of January. So I'll give her just a little opportunity to say welcome to everyone. Ina?
Hi, everyone. My name, as Kim said, Ina Kaljek. I'm excited about this new role. I'm still learning a lot about the agency, but I was hired in the homeownership division as a senior program analyst to work on a development program.
So you'll be seeing probably some invites for some community conversations soon. I'm letting Ina grab some information and talk to as many people as she can before having the community conversations with our homeownership development partners. With that, I'm going to have the rest of the homeownership program team introduce themselves. I'll start with Alicia.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. Alicia Halb, program analyst, working with the homeownership centers throughout the state.
Cheryl?
My name is Cheryl Lyons. I am the loan specialist for the bond program.
Elizabeth.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Thomas. I am the LIFT Homeownership Development Officer.
Greg.
Greg Current with, I'm a program analyst with the Home Ownership Assistance Program. And I apologize for the background. I have another person in the office as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Scott, you want to introduce yourself and your team?
I am Scott Shaw, Assistant Director of Homeownership Lending, working on the Flex Lending Program. And I'd like to introduce Angelica Jimenez. Angelica?
Hi, I'm Angelica, and I am the loan specialist for working with Scott and the Flex Lending.
And she is going to get to that position. She's been serving as our admin specialist prior, and we are recruiting for a new person in that position, so she will be able to move on but stay within our homeownership team. So we're really grateful for that. And we do have, I think I have everyone but Magda. So Magda, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, thank you, Kim. My name is Magda Bejarano, and I am here to support the community partners and the homeownership division with access and language access. I'm also new to the agency, in a new position. I'm just glad to meet you all today.
Okay, Heather.
Hello, I'm Heather Kessinger. I am a program analyst, eligibility coordinator for the HAF program team.
And then and I think we have a few more of the HAF team members on, so will you introduce yourself, please?
Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Reed and I'm on the HAF team and I'm the program liaison.
All right, I can follow Sarah. My name is Ryan Vandenbrink. I'm the Assistant Director for Homeowner Assistance Programs, helping to set up the HAF team. I think I saw Matt, your name was on here too.
Yes, Matt Alman. I'm a program analyst here with the Homeownership Assistance Fund as well.
I can go next. I'm Silvestre Trujillo. I'm the Compliance and Auditing Specialist.
And I know, James, would you like to introduce yourself too?
Hi, I'm James Kwasnick. I'm a communications coordinator at OHCS, just listening in. Thanks.
Willie.
Good afternoon, everyone. Willie Schumann. I'm a research analyst here at OHCS. I work closely with homeownership, and I'm here to listen. Nice to meet you all.
Great. Thank you, everyone. And I just want to make sure I have not forgotten anyone on the OHCS team.
Hi, Kim.
There she is, Alexandra. I knew there was somebody on there. I was flipping screens and I was trying really hard. So,
hi, folks. I'm Alexandra. I'm a member of our government relations team, and I work closely with the homeownership division. And I think that is all of us, Kim.
Okay, great. Good, good, good. Well, if I only forgot
Anna.
one. Oh, go ahead.
I see
Oh,
Anna.
no, we've got Anna. Right?
Yes. Hi.
There you
Thanks, Kim. Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Anna Gonzalez Martin, and I'm executive support to Emma Shea Perfecto, who is the Director of Homeownership. And I'm also listening in and wanting to learn more information.
Okay, I think we've got them all. Perfect. Okay. To kick things off on our agenda, I'm going to turn over to Alicia Howe.
Okay, first of all, for all of our Homeownership Center partners, I would like to give you a huge, huge thank you for all of your work on the data that you've been working on for the last 2 quarters. We're still working through that, and I appreciate everyone's tolerance and ideas and everything that you've done to put in all the extra work so that we can get a really good story of the data and all the clients that you serve and all the work that you put in to help people achieve their goals, whatever they may be, home buying or home maintaining. So I would like to put out a huge thank you for that. I really appreciate all of the work that everyone has put in and the ideas that we've gotten from our partners. It's been very helpful. Also to let you know, regarding the homeownership centers, we are slowly working on getting all of the invoices processed and paid. So please bear with us with so much coming in all at the same time. We are working on them, so we'll get them out as soon as possible. The other thing I just wanted to remind, if you have any staff changes, if you would please notify us as soon as possible so that if we need to make arrangements for your organization, we can do that and help you through the transition. And then we also, as soon as we get through all of our December reports for the homeownership centers, we will get that to Willie, our data person, and then he will create probably a fabulous dashboard for all of you to see the good work that you do. Let's see. So our down payment program, majority of our partners have completed the general funds of the program and fully expended their funds. We have about 6 to 7 of our partners that are still working through their veterans program for the CPA funds. And that would be through the end of March. We'll be seeing the final counts for that. So we won't expect to see the final data for our down payment, this last down payment program, until probably mid-May, late May. So you can look forward to seeing that. And then we anticipate for the new round of funding that the RFA would be somewhere 3 to 4 months, depending upon the workload in our procurement department and Department of Justice. So we know that there's a lot of programs out there. So between the writing of the RFA and the legal sufficiency and the procurement review, it will take us some time to get that out. So we are working on it. We will get it out. Unfortunately, it's not as fast as we would like it. So bear with us, please. Also, regarding our foreclosure avoidance counseling program, we are also navigating on those invoices as well. There was a lot of information to look at and work through. We have the last 6 months of last year that we're working through. So we are currently in the process. Thank you, Greg, for going through all of that. He's working very hard to get all of those invoices processed as quickly as possible and as effective, make sure we're not making any mistakes and getting everything done correctly. And we appreciate all of the work on the reports of that program as well. We know it's a little different than what we've done in the past. So we are working through those reports. And for those of you that are participating in our Housing Stability Counseling Program, just a little reminder, you do have a quarterly report that's due soon in a couple weeks, regardless if you had any data that you submitted. We still need to report to NeighborWorks the challenges and things that are going on in our program, even though we haven't done a lot of work at this point. So I just wanted to put out that little reminder that we will be expecting those reports from you all. And then also a reminder that as soon as you send in your first invoice, we will get your program support, portion of your program support paid with that first invoice. So those funds will be also available to you. I think that I've got you caught up to date with all of the programs and things that we're working on, and we do appreciate your patience with us working through and navigating through all of those invoices.
Pause there if there's any questions for Alicia. And feel free to put them in the chat, or you're happy to ask them now or even later too.
There is one in the chat related to if the DPA RFA is expected in late May or June as a clarification.
Late May or June could be. We don't know. Just depends on the workload that we have at DOJ and our procurement team. With all of the additional funding and emergency programs that are still in the process of getting those agreements out, it's hard to say exactly when that will happen, but we're pushing as fast as we can go.
Great, thank you. We will move on to Elizabeth for an update on Lyft homeownership.
Hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today. I'm going to update you actually on the Lyft homeownership, and I have a little bit of information on LAP, the Land Acquisition Program. So first of all, Lyft, you probably all know that the NOFA is open and we are accepting applications now. If there are any questions about that, I need those questions to go to our HONOFA email address so they can be answered and then add to our frequently asked questions. I'm going to drop some links into the chat that will be the web page for all of this information, so you can look it up. But if you can't find it, you can ask me that question. That's fine. Let's see, what about that? We've got frequently asked questions on the web page. We do have the wildfire asks as of February 25th also on the wildfire page, and tomorrow we'll have the pre-application amounts is what I mean by that, the asks. Tomorrow we'll have the regular NOFA home ownership pre-application amounts, and that's just the aggregate data, and it shows the counties and that sort of thing. So if you're interested to see where that is, I think it's just over 16 million that we have total applications for both wildfire and regular HO. So that's great. I'm excited to see those applications come through and start a whole new round of getting your guys' loans closed so you can start building more homes. It's just awesome. Let's see. On the LAP, the Land Acquisition Program, those funds are opening up again for applications on April 1st. And we do have an updated LAP manual on that web page. Again, I'll drop that address, that URL into our chat. If you're not familiar with the LAP program, it's for obviously land acquisition. It can be used on a Lyft project. So the way it would work is you would use the LAP funds to purchase the land. And then when you close your Lyft loan, you can use Lyft loan proceeds to pay off the LAP loan. So that LAP loan would be paid off. It comes with a 30-year affordability period that will stay for that entire 30 years, even though the program or the loan itself is paid off. If you have questions about that, I'm going to say you can ask me or you can ask Becky Isom, and I'll put her email address in the chat box as well. And that is just like first come, first reviewed, first awarded for people who meet the criteria for that. I don't know if there's any questions that I can answer now. If there is, you can put them in the chat box or email me or email the HONOFA webpage. Good.
Elizabeth, if I may, I have a quick question about the land acquisition program. Without reading the whole manual, I did look briefly and I looked at the summarized information in the application. Am I remembering correctly that essentially those work out to be 2% simple interest over the life of the loan?
You know, I don't actually run that program, so I'm going to suggest you send that question to Becky.
Thanks.
Hi, Elizabeth. Just a quick question. I put it in the chat. I need to go back and look, but I think the last time I have access to 3 of the program work centers so far for the applications that we're working on.
Mm-hmm.
Will some of the required templates be uploaded? I know there are a couple of the forms there, but there should be additional materials.
You know, I think those are coming tomorrow. I will check on that, Sarah, and make sure and yeah, and let you know. But I'm pretty sure that all our updates are happening tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. If there's no other questions, then I'll pass it back to you, Kim.
Great, thank you. And again, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to put them in the chat. Elizabeth has placed in the chat the links to both the LIFT homeownership questions. So if you have specific LIFT homeownership questions, we do have a specific email address that those questions need to be sent to, and they're monitored and again, published and updated in the frequently asked questions about that program, and then information on the land acquisition home ownership program info. As stated earlier, I introduced you all to Ina on homeownership development, and we will be scheduling some community conversations, partner conversations to get your thoughts around homeownership development. And for everyone that is joining for the first time or whom is not familiar with the homeownership development funds that we received from the last legislative session, we have $20 million of homeownership development money, which is earmarked, discussed about to be more flexible homeownership development funding. If you're not familiar with the LIFT homeownership, those funds are through the sale of Article 11Q bonds, which requires the state to have an ownership in the land, which that program works especially well with community land trusts and our partners who originate and have community land trusts in their part of their mission. So these new funds will allow us to look at other types of development. You know, again, we are doing a lot of research. Ina is talking to lots and lots of people. And I know our homeownership development partners that are on the call have specific thoughts and ideas as well. And we've, heard over the years of what would work, what wouldn't work. I know the Governor's Racial Justice Council has had some conversations around these funds as well. So we have that information. And then the other part of these funds is the agency would really like to establish a cohort similar to what affordable rental housing does for their permanent supportive housing. Lots of acronyms, so I'm trying to make sure I use no acronyms for you guys. And again, that's to bring partners whom would like to gain the experience to be homeownership developers, but may need additional assistance with capacity, staffing, learning more about the process, the application. And so that's in the works as well. Just giving you a few highlights and then actually giving Ina some breathing room to gather her thoughts and information before we bring in partners to have those very important community conversations. So I'll just pause there for a second, and I want to make sure if there's any questions from the group, I want to make sure that we have time for those too. No? Okay, great. Shannon, I was watching you, not to point you out, but I was watching you because I thought maybe you had a question. So I just wanted to give you a minute. And with that, I will turn it over to Scott Shaw.
Good afternoon, everybody. So update on the Flex Lending Program. We've been working very hard at it. It's a little bit different to navigate, I think, just because of how complex it is. We are waiting for some approvals from other agencies to make sure that everything flows right, but things seem to be cruising right along. I'm not going to lie to you and give you an update as to what date we think it's going to roll out. We're going to let those folks do their job, but we are excited to do it, and I'll take any questions you have.
So Scott, for those that may be new to the call, you want to explain what our Flex Lending Program is?
Yes, sorry about that. So Oregon currently operates under the Oregon Bond Program, which uses tax-exempt mortgage revenue bonds. We call them MRBs, or they're called TEBs. Those are limited in supply, and as obviously the state has grown, that supply is changing. So one of the things that we had worked on, and we've been working on since honestly 2018, making sure that we lay the groundwork to make sure that it's actually well thought out and well done, right? Is that we've been entering into working towards developing the Flex Lending, which is a TBA-based lending program. And TBA stands for To Be Announced Mortgage-Backed Securities. And the wonderful thing about it is that it would allow the state to, as an HFA, to do zero down home loans. It would not put any limitations on how much volume we do. So it offers a lot of flexibilities. It's not something that's new. There's actually over 40 other states that already do this. So the nice thing is we've been able to gather on some of the things that other states have done as we're developing, tailoring, and structuring the program. Kim, thank you for that, because yeah, that was a little short.
Shannon.
Thank you, Scott. Okay, so I'm so excited, and I have first a request and many questions. You don't have to answer all of them right now. So first, the request is, could we maybe all have access to like a different call just at greater length on this topic at a future date?
So so just so we're clear, another conversation specifically around the Flex Lending program.
Yeah, so here's to back that up a little bit, right? So I think I understand, and you will tell me how I'm wrong. I think I understand that in time, essentially this Flex Lending program is going to replace the Oregon Bond Residential Loan Program. Is that fair language, or is that off base?
I won't commit to that because there's so much legislation in play. It is a potential. It is, but I don't know that I would commit to. There's a lot of potential around recycling bonds, if the multifamily bond, short-term bonds, et cetera. And that's a deeper conversation that we probably need to go here. But there is a potential to have that all in play. But so we are keeping our options open is what I'm trying to say.
So like,
Shannon, actually we should always have some sort of bond proceeds. They're going to be more restricted because we will not have new private activity bond allocation into single family, but we will have, unless something changes, right? Like we get a new increase or something, but we will have the refundings. They just may not happen as frequently as they do now with the changing, mortgage environment and, the refinancing of those bonds and generating new money. So
all helpful. So here's my, this is where I get nerdy, right? And really dorky, I'm gonna own it. So like, for example, I think some of us might find it beneficial to see like a side-by-side comparison, if we could, of Oregon Bond Residential Home Loans Flex. And then some of us are hoping, and it may not all be determined yet in this legal process, right? But maybe, for example, could the Flex Lending program play more nicely with Lyft than the Oregon Bond Residential program does in some instances, or not? There are those kinds of questions. And then just like you are needing some flexibility and time for things to run through the legal process, we would want as soon as possible to be ramping up our own training and understanding and paperwork internally, so that we're generating like new Lyft developments that have appropriate writers for the future. That's how I'm thinking. Does that make sense?
Oh no, it totally makes sense. There are some things that need to be done before we can share that. And so it's not that we're hiding it. It's that we're playing 3D chess. There's about 5 or 6 different variables going on right now. That if I deliver something to you, it could vastly change. And I don't want you guys to be spending money on your legal, right? Your counsel and your training, and then have it change at the last minute. So we got to go a little bit farther before we do that, but absolutely. I think I wanted to answer. Yeah. All right. Shannon, can I Can I answer Bill's question? So Bill Peterson's got one in the chat. Is that good with you, Kim? Can I roll through those? Cool. All right. So new lender partners not currently approved for the existing program, or will they? Will new lender partners not currently approved for the existing program be allowed to utilize this program? We are developing a lender RFA bill. And so that will be open to new lenders. It will be a completely separate agreement. Depending on how bond develops, we may merge an addendum in there down the road, but we can't commit to that right now. But right now it's being set up as a standalone program with a separate approval.
Scott, may I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
My name is John Hartman. I'm with a lender also, and longtime listener and occasional commenter. But you said you were looking at other states, and yeah, I manage for our company, HFA programs in, probably 2-3 dozen states. What can you tell me about maybe which states you are modeling after? Just
So I actually took a pile of about 6 states.
Okay.
And I took the best options that I could from all of them, trying to get the best representation and put our best foot forward. That's a great question. Thank you.
Okay. And maybe before you were actually, a couple of meetings ago, I know the discussion that you guys are in the RFA process for a master servicer for that program too. Have you guys completed that process too for this yet?
That is something that we are working on. We have issued an intent to award for master servicer. And that is what we are currently navigating and making sure that all of our other agencies, that they are on board, everything is acceptable to them, and ironing out those details.
Excellent, thank you.
No problem. All right, let's see here. Hold on, I want to see if I missed anybody. Karen, you had a question about details. Okay, yep, we had talked about that. We may be able to have another call to get that done. But I had another question in here that I am missing.
Scott, I don't think so. I think it's just more having some more conversations when we can with partners.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Perfect.
Anybody else have any other questions? If not, I'll go to mute and let Kim take over.
And if you do, again, please put them in the chat. I think the whole OHCS team is watching the chat, so we'll make sure that we address those as well. I'm going to add something that wasn't on the agenda. So Eitzel, and we'll talk to Eitzel, had a question in here about the $25 million from the legislature. So I think most everyone has seen that 15 million will be coming to home ownership programs from the $400 million ask from Oregon Housing to the legislature. So thank you to everyone if you reached out to your legislatures to help support the passing of that. So the $15 million that's coming into homeownership programs, 14 million will be utilized by homeownership programs. So my team will have the 14 million, and then $1 million is going to the manufactured housing and the manufactured marina community resource centers. And that will help support our community dispute resolution centers. So with the funds that we have about 4 buckets that we've talked about utilizing for the funding. We've heard from partners that we need to leave the dollar amounts off of each of those buckets, right? So we would put out the most, I'm going to call it simplest. That may not even be the right word to use, but all of you know our procurement sometimes can be very challenging and very daunting. So we are working, we, meaning Alicia, is working with our procurement team to put together a very simple solicitation for these funds. So it will probably be as easy as here is the funding that we're putting out. Here is the categories that you may, speak to in your very simple application. And we will be asking for a report out at the end. So probably a narrative of what you've used the funding for. So we're not asking for huge reporting. But we do need to have accountability for the funds that we do put out. And so we want to make sure that we have a narrative explaining what the funds are used for. We are looking at 2 solicitations going out, and I'm going to be very honest with this team and this group is the reason that we're looking at 2 solicitations is we want to keep the dollar amount around 140 to 145,000 per agency. This way it moves the process along very quickly through our procurement team, no DOJ. Again, if the money comes in, hopefully we can do this and we can get the funds out quicker, and then we can do it again in the 2023, early 2023. So that's our plan right now with those funds. And with that, I just want to pause and see if there's any questions in reference to that.
Kim, I got a quick question. This is Daniel with all. Would that be funding for like down payment assistance that we're talking about here?
No.
Oh.
No, these funds, Daniel, would be for like operational support. They could be used for some capacity building, maybe expansion to underserved communities. But yeah, this is not down payment. That specific RFA will go out, hopefully mid, in 3 to 4 months.
Yeah.
Or when it gets out the door, we'll just say that.
it's like back in 2020, kind of the same time frame, I understand that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
That's great clarification. Thank you.
I've put the specific buckets in the chat.
Great.
So Kim, I have a question. So you mentioned that you are hoping to do a solicitation in 2022 and another one in 2023. So are you going to split the money, or is Oregon Housing expecting to receive additional money?
No, we would be using 2. The reason we're doing 2 kind of solicitations is we're trying to keep the dollar amount under the 150 to get the money out quicker. So we thought if we were able to do it obviously quicker, easier for our partners, meaning not to have a huge application that you need to complete, that we could do that and then put additional resources out in 2023. Okay, any questions?
Kim, you have a question from Shannon in the chat.
Oh.
About other nonprofits as defined. How broad is the group of organizations that are eligible?
So it's other nonprofits whom help homeowners. So in our conversation, that would be entities like Habitat, right? You help homeowners. Proud Ground is one, CORE is one. We're trying to think of other organizations who truly do help homeowners with homeowner concerns potentially. And so our homeownership center is doing an amazing job, but they're not our only homeowner partners in the state. So we were having an expanded version of that. And we also want to make sure we're not, that we know that there's partners out there that are doing this work that could utilize these funds as well. So Shannon, did that answer your question? Okay, great. Perfect. Okay, with that,
Kim,
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Daniel has his hand up.
Oh, sorry, Daniel.
It's okay. I just want to kind of clarify one of the things that I understand. I know they've had some people, some staff from the HAF program. Thank you guys for helping too. Want to make sure there is funding. This is just my 2 cents, right? There's funding for homeowners coming from all different sources. And although that's great, at the same time, for some agencies, not us only, but other agencies, it could be a little bit complicated because if the money's coming from the same sources in how it's being selected. So we do want to be careful on, accepting funds to help homeowners that, can't be helped because we're helping them with something else, or an agency's helping them with 2 or 3 different programs. So it could be convoluted with so many different sources that are all leading back to the same barrel per se. So we as agencies have to be careful. I know we want to help a lot of people, but at the same time, reaching out for all this money can make the agencies go crazy, So we have to be careful about that.
And Daniel, I know Alicia put like a flow chart together. So if you haven't seen that, we're happy to share that. And this new, I'm going to call it the new money, the $14 million, Daniel, that is more of operational support. So it's not tied to direct service. I mean, you don't have to bill a client. I guess it's not client services billed, right? And so we heard that from a lot of partners. So this is more of an operational, or maybe you need some technology updates or equipment, those kind of expenses that a lot of times your admin isn't there to cover some of those expenses. So.
Oh, thank you for clarification. That makes sense. Okay, thanks. Appreciate it.
Great.
Hey, Kim, a couple quick questions. I am curious about the, I hear the 150-ish cap around procurement stuff. But I am curious, if I do quick math, the number of agencies that would need to apply to get the 14 million or so, right, to expend it entirely. I guess I am curious if there are not enough requests, if there will be opportunities for agencies to come back with additional requests at time. And then my other question would be if there was clarity that was provided around if you all getting this off of your books is considered one time by the end of the biennium, or if that is also use of funds by agencies by the end of the biennium. Thanks.
Yes, so I'm going to do the last question first, Karen. So if we disperse it to an agency prior to June 30, 2023, that is expended. So that means if you get it in 2022 and you don't expend it till 2024, that's okay, right? It's OHCS getting the money out the door prior to June 30, 2023.
Perfect.
Yes, we heard, yeah. And so we've asked that question a lot just to make sure that we are very clear with that. So that's that. And then as far as the funding limitations, that's an interesting, touchy question. And the reason I say that is we have to be careful that if we do a solicitation in 2022, and let's just say if we cap it at 145, and maybe there's not enough agencies that come in, or we have a lot more money left over than we thought, and we may think we couldn't get it out in 2023. If we do another solicitation, let's just say for another 140 or 130, that is frowned upon, because in theory, we should have done a solicitation for a larger amount and have gone through the procurement and the Department of Justice process. So I just want to call that out, that we've had those conversations and we just need to be really careful in that realm.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
No, and I get it. And I get that it's a bit of a theoretical question, right? I just I'm trying to think through, how do we ensure that this money that is allocated is going to, it's actually hitting the streets, right? And it's getting to agencies who need the work and need the capacity building. And so I think if there are ways that us as a network of agencies can support one another in ensuring that people are coming to the table and getting applications to not have money left over, I think that's important to do, because I would hate to think that money's getting recouped at the end of the biennium that doesn't need to be.
Right.
But, yeah. And I think it's a wait and see potential, but thanks, Kim.
Yeah. Yep. No, appreciate the question. Believe me, we have probably discussed, thrown on the board many of these conversations, but I appreciate everyone asking. So that would be great. Before I turn it over to Ryan Vanderbrink, who's Assistant Director to the Homeowner Assistance Fund, just a shout out, I know she's not on here, but to Carmel, Charlene, and all the OHSI staff who for many years ran the OHSI program and did an amazing job, and we helped many, many, many people with 200, let's see if I did my math right. Well, 200 and something million, but with all the recycled money, I think we're well over 300. And, we still have loans out there that will be coming back in, and, potentially down the road, maybe some resources to do some other types of programs. And Ryan and his team and a lot of his team are from the OHSI department. So it's even a better opportunity for the HAF team and the programs going forward. So Ryan, are you still here?
Yeah, thank you, Kim. I will definitely echo my thanks to Carmel, because she's been invaluable in and her team in helping to set up the HAF program. Looking at their third quarter report from last year, it looks like they were able to, in their time, serve over 17,000 homeowners in Oregon. And the number by the end of the third quarter was over $316 million, including the recycled funds. I am going to be conscious of time and drop in some links to the chat with some new or updated information, depending on when you last accessed them. There is a HAF dedicated website now with information on the program. We have been trying to turn then the agency webpage for HAF into a resource page with documents and links for homeowners. One of the things we've come out now that we've opened phase 2 of the program is a pre-qualification question tool to help people understand where they might be in what phase, whether they're phase 1 or phase 2, and can apply now and how to do that, or if they might fall into phase 3 or just the general application period. So those are available for you to take a look at. I'll also give an update on the program real fast. We've had over 50 applications so far. About 10 of those have been withdrawn because they were not in the correct phase. We've funded 2 of those applications, and those were both county back taxes. I have heard that we are now starting to finish the common data file or CDF exchange process with mortgage servicers, and that is what takes quite a bit longer for the applications that involve a mortgage. And so that back and forth is finishing on some of our files, so we'll be able to fund some of the mortgage files pretty soon. And then if Veronica is still at her computer, I see that she logged on, and I was going to introduce her as the newest team member for the HAF program. And she's helping us to process files, go through emails, review for phase eligibility, and do underwriting. Veronica, if you want to say hi.
Hello, how are you guys?
Thank you. And that was just the quick overview for the HAF update.
Great, thanks, Ryan. Questions for Ryan?
Yeah, hi Ryan, quick question for you. I'm just curious if you have any update for when contracts will be sent to agencies who have received a notice of award for the HAF funds?
I do not, but I can follow up with Jessica and make sure that we're on top of that.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
And I am wondering whether we have any updates on when phase 3 may be opening.
From what we've seen, the foreclosures are ticking up. Not a lot, but a little bit. And so we're trying to reach out to homeowners that are in phase 1 and phase 2, in addition to receiving those referrals from counselors and others. So we're looking at probably the end of April right now for phase 3.
Thanks.
James from OHCS, will you share just real quick about the Facebook Live events that are happening? Sorry to put you on the spot. I know we have a few minutes and I just want to make sure with Ryan's comment, if you can share a little bit with the rest of the group, just to maybe have some more participants watching live, that'd be great.
Yeah, sure. So we held our first kind of like public facing for Facebook Live event last evening in coordination with Vienna Star and I believe it was
Dev Northwest.
Thank you. Dev Northwest. And it was kind of like a update on where things are with foreclosures, and provided information for homeowners about what they can do to avoid to try to avoid foreclosure proceedings. Contacting housing counseling agencies and trying to just know what their options are. Working with your servicers, working with housing counselors, and that kind of just some like education around what foreclosure means and some of the terms that they might be encountering as they're being contacted about their housing options. And so foreclosure options. And then so this is going to be a series of Facebook Lives. We're planning to do about 5 of them on different topics. We're working with different agencies in coordination with those, depending on what the topic is. And we can follow up with you all with the schedule of those as it's being built out, and what the topics are for each one of those. And we're also always looking for opportunities to work with you all on reaching out to homeowners, getting the word out about these Facebook Live events. Now that we've had our first one, it kind of have gone through the process and learned some things we can build on. We'd really like to start expanding these out so that we can get some more participation. There is an option for like a question and answer period as well, so homeowners can ask their questions during that time. So this first half, I should have mentioned this before, but the first half is in English, and this second half of an hour-long session is in Spanish. And we thank our partners in helping us to facilitate that call. So really excited about these upcoming ones, and we'll keep you in the loop. Thank you.
Thank you, James, and thank you for letting me put you on the spot. I really appreciate that. So, and a shout out to Dev Northwest and BN-STAR for being the first partners to do the Facebook Live and work through any issues that we may have had. And if your agency is interested, I know you can reach out to James, and we would love additional partners in that. We've got about 2 minutes. I just want to make note that our next call is on June 2nd. Our Zoom or call is June 2nd. And on each of the Join Us, we plan for the full year of 2022. So all of those dates are listed. So it's June 2nd, September 1st, and December 1st is the rest of the year for our meetings. And with that, we will make sure if we did not address your questions in the chat, we do keep copies of everything. So we'll make sure that we follow up with anyone if we did not address your questions in the chat today. And we've got about a minute. So is there any questions or anything before we go? Okay, I'm going to take silence that there are no questions for the rest of the afternoon. So again, to everyone, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you to the first timers that joined today. And we look forward to seeing you before June 2nd at our next meeting. And just be on the lookout for any other opportunities for us to get together. And I know that you've all received our e-news, but if you know someone who isn't, please reach out and let us know. We want to make sure everyone gets our information. And with that, happy Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.